All right. Well, we're late. That's the first thing we've learned. And I'm sure because you found a building, you know that we're in MongoDB. So first off, big thanks to MongoDB for providing this awesome space and the pizzas and beer. And yeah, they've been doing this. This is the third one here. So it's been fantastic. They've always been really good hosts. It's a ridiculous space as well. I think there's microphones in the roof up here as well. So don't fart. That's what I learned the hard way. The React events tonight, I love the way I'm looking at this. I got these slides about 20 minutes ago, finished, so I really don't know what's coming next. I'm just gonna make the story up as we go along. Git Nation, I know who they are. Git Nation are who I co-host these events with. Git Nation run about a dozen conferences around Europe, and actually they're doing their first event in the US, a React US event. You'll see the stickers on the tables later this year as well. So big fan of them. They have meetups in nearly every city in Europe as well. So if you're looking for a good place to connect, check them out. There's their website. They do a multi-pass. Well, it is all over Europe, but they do always have online versions of it as well in case you want to join in online, hear from people. You even get to talk to a lot of the speakers in interactive sessions as well during it. There's always these nice little Discord calls with some of the speakers. I was very disappointed in the last one. I was too shy to talk to Kyle Simpson. If anyone knows who Kyle Simpson is, that's who I nerd or fanboy out on. I literally left it too late until he left. And then I was just too shy to talk to him. So now I'm still trying to figure out what conference he's at again to go back. And this time I'm going to be brave. JS Nation is the next one that's up. This one is awesome. Amsterdam, I was there last year, it was fantastic. And right next door to it, they also have the React Summit. Really surprising fact about these two events. JavaScript Nation has about 1,000 attendees. React Summit, 1,500. Apparently people like React more than JavaScript. I don't know if that says too much about it, but yeah, way bigger event. It's really fun. The after party is fantastic because they have custom JavaScript beers and custom React beers. It's the nerdiest, coolest thing ever. So yeah, if you are around there, definitely recommend it. React Dublin will get you some discounts. This is the React Advanced in London as well, so there's closer ones as well. And we are doing a giveaway. So if you have not entered for the free tickets to this, we have Carolina over there, that the small Spanish lady over here. If you want to go over, I said this earlier because I couldn't see her or anyone else could because she was hiding behind people. Now you can be seen, Carolina. If you want to add your name to a piece of paper, we're going to throw it in a bag. At the end of the evening, I'm going to pull out a couple of names and you're going to get free tickets to We Are Developers. It's over in Berlin. But yeah, worth a shot if you want to go over there. You can do that now. It's better than listening to me. So fire ahead. I am Niall. I run a meetup called Kodu. We are building an open source platform to teach people to code for free as well. Right now, it is an author platform. So the community have built this. We launched it about 10 weeks ago. We have about 250 articles already. So it's been awesome to see all the contributions and all the code going in from the community members as well. We have a really active Discord as well. So if you want to join in the chats between these sessions, learn stuff, ask questions with people, find out about jobs or anything else, you'll see a few people around here actually meeting for the first time from the Discord as well. You know, it's nice to see people in the flesh. All right. I'm looking, where am I? Where's my friend gone? Oh, you're right in front. I can't believe I missed you. I'm like, and I wouldn't mind. I did the face check earlier. I went, Sonny, this is you. Sitting right in front. You're too close to me. I think I need glasses, not you. So Anna is going to say a few words about the MongoDB user group since she is leading it. So I'll leave it to you.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Hi, everyone. My name is Suhani. I am a software engineer at Protex AI. We're a health and safety startup that provides workplace safety to computer vision. So I joined MongoDB user group because I love communities and I love MongoDB. And communities have played a big part in my career so far. So just wanted to, get involved and organize some events. So this is a link to the MongoDB user group. This is where we'll post about all our events, and we'll get the conversation going as well. So you can scan the QR code and visit the MongoDB user group, and you'll get notified about all the events, and you can have conversations there. Sorry, I'll just go back for you guys to scan. And I am looking for somebody to help me out with the MongoDB user group events as well. So if you're interested in becoming a leader, I'm here for the event, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn and drop a message there as well. So if you're interested, you can get involved as well. That's about it. I will hand it back to Mel. Thank you so much.
Excellent. A little bula bus here because, excellent. Thank you, Suhani. Now that I found you, I'll remember where you are in case I need you again. This is the problem with being short and the laptop being right here. All right, we're finally ready to do some talks, nearly. So we have 3 talks on tonight. We had a late fallout as well, so thankfully MongoDB have been nice enough to swap in a nice talk for us. So we actually have an introduction to MongoDB in the middle of the talks tonight as well. So we have Evan is going to be up first. This is Evan. Isn't he adorable? Evan is going to be starting us off tonight. And then we are going over to Shane and it's Israel after that. So yeah, we're going to just keep this going. So last chance to grab a beer because we're not stopping from here on out. All right. Let's give it another round of applause over for Evan. Okay, yeah, that'll help. Got it. Start texting you.
Can everyone hear me? Cool. So, hi everyone, I'm Evan, and this talk is about how I started using React, Realm, and OpenAI to start powering my workouts. So, first, you're probably wondering who the heck is this guy? So, my name is Evan. I'm 10 years coding in JavaScript, currently working on HubSpot. I love making stuff, and I've absolutely hated every leg day this app has generated for me. And some of the stuff I've done, so Niall will probably attest to this, I've tried a lot of startups. The third one on the list there was tracking during COVID time. I had McDonald's signed up as a partner, and then all of a sudden, Michal Martin comes out, no more restrictions. So I'll start off with how I actually came up with this. Like every other project, it all started with the problem. And my problem statement was, I'm overweight, I'm unfit, I need to get my ass in shape, and my friends convinced me to sign up for Hell and Back, which I'm still signed up for. So my solution was hire a personal trainer, and there was a lot of pros to this. He designed all my workouts, gave me a lot of nutritional advice, pushed me to like keep that schedule and helped me progress with my fitness. Week 1, I could barely do 20 kilos, and week 5, I was doing 60, 70 kilos. So it was pretty good. But then there are cons to a personal trainer. They can and will quit their job. I have absolutely no ill will towards him. He had an awesome opportunity that he had to take. And unfortunately, it ended up costing a lot of money. So now there's a new problem statement. My routine is fluffed. We'll say fluffed. My trainer was gone with his plans. My app that I was using with him is gone with all the schedules. And I can't see any of my historical data of what I've done. And I didn't have a clue what to do in the gym the next day. So my motivation just went nearly overnight. So I looked for a few solutions, and there are a lot of cool workout apps out there. There's Glowfox, it requires a trainer. There's True Coach, also requires a trainer. And most other workout apps that I looked at also required a trainer. So my motivation just went, and I stopped going to the gym. Then what happened? I experimented with AI. It started out, I just threw a few prompts into ChatGPT to see what would happen. I installed the app on my phone, and I was able to kind of give myself a few workouts and stuff like that. And then my wife said to me, oh, hey, I want to try that too. And then if we look at the pros of AI, it comes with all the exact same pros as a personal trainer. It designs your workouts, helps me with nutritional advice, pushes me to keep to a schedule, even though that's a bit flaky, Helps me with progress because I can store everything I'm doing. And do I need a trainer anymore? Maybe. And does it cost a lot of money? No. So who wants to know more? How does it work? It's pretty simple. You sign up, I give you a free week's workout. If you like it, subscribe. If you don't, subscribe anyway. We then generate a free set of workouts every 2 weeks. And sorry, I forgot we're here for the tech. So here's how the tech works. My app talks to MongoDB. Sounds easy, yes? I wish. GymBuddy is a mixture of React Native, Next.js, Node.js, and MongoDB. We use React Native for our mobile app, Next.js for a landing page, and Node.js for all the super secret stuff that we do on the back end. Use cron jobs and some other super secret stuff. And then we have the third-party stuff. So for that, we're using Revenue Catch, Stripe, HubSpot, Auth0, Realm, MongoDB, but we are super strict for security on it. Any pictures to explain, because when I was trying to write this down, it just wasn't working for me. So here's my beautiful tech diagram of how we work. So as you can see, React Native talks to Realm, Next talks to Node, our cron jobs talk to absolutely everything else. And then for some reason, through the beauty of Realm, it all works together. So the AI layer, this is where it got really fun. With AI, it's all about your prompt. When I didn't have the prompt right, it produced some lewd results. It gave me some really weird stuff on how to build muscles in my arms. But designing prompts is going to be the job of the future. And if you look at some of the prompt engineer salaries out today, you can see why we will all want that job of the future. And then we got into the latency issues. Once we got the prompt right, it still wasn't plain sailing. Some of the results coming out were still weird. But thankfully, through training of the models and storing up the data coming out, we managed to get a few ways around it. But we also kept time out because ChatGPT, unfortunately, is slow. Typical response for your average 2 weeks of workouts is coming out around 2 minutes, 3 minutes sometimes if it was slow. And we keep our API timeouts set to 20 to 30 seconds. And we're not changing that because latency matters in this industry. So we did the AOT WTF does this acronym mean? We investigated ahead of time workout generation and caching workouts for use in later batches. And then things got a whole lot faster, and that was all of our problems solved. I wish. The API. We write all of our external APIs in Node.js, even though my backend dev is a really big fan of Go and keeps at me about that kind of stuff. And this API talks to MongoDB, Realm, OpenAI, Auth0, and other services. And we can secure our prompts and other data through the use of environment variables. And we always ensure that workouts are generated. And if you're wondering how, we go back to what we just talked about, the ahead of time generation, caching mechanisms, some static S3 stuff in case OpenAI is just completely down. I've seen a couple of AI startups just completely go off the map because of ChatGPT just not being there. And then in case it's really needed, we also have a way of doing manual data entry. So the app itself, this was a super fun piece to work on. I'm React developer by day, but I've actually never done React Native. And it was super fun to get to know how to use this. So it's a React Native application. And it was actually the last talk here, there was a talk on how to use Realm and how it works with React Native. So that's what inspired me to try using this for this application. It uses Realm to sync, read, and write data, but we only write very specific data, such as your results or some like personal details about height and weight, just to kind of determine what workouts we should actually throw at you. But the app doesn't actually talk to Realm to generate workouts. That all happens in the super secret place, also known as Versal. The app's only job is to show you workouts and let you record results. And it works really well with Realm because of the syncing mechanism that's in place. I could go into my admin application right now, give Niall a workout, and he'd see it on his phone straight away. And that way we can keep it fast. One of the things I said earlier is that we're really into keeping our latency slow, and we're also into keeping our speed high. So in order to achieve that, we kind of try to keep that app as minimal as possible and do all the heavy lifting elsewhere. We also use App Center and Code Push for OTA updates. I mistakenly thought I could just push the App Store and send out an email to everybody who's on the app and be like, hey, here's a new feature. Next week, hey, here's another new feature. I got a lot of unsubscribes. I marked as spam a few times. Whoops. And then we use error for sentry tracking. Excuse me. We use Sentry for error tracking. This is awesome because I'm fairly new to mobile, but I know Sentry inside and out by now. So it's thrown up a few things that I just haven't caught in my own time. And then using native base for components makes development of this application very, very simple. And then we have our website, which is written in Next.js. We chose this because of its static site generation and its SEO capabilities. But it's not just the website here. We're also able to do our admin panel. This panel is used if you need to fix workouts, or if I need to go in and figure out if a user is attacking us or trying to put some dodgy data in, and also to take care of those lewd results, because unfortunately they still pop up from ChatGPT from time to time. And for some reason, it's always with ARM workouts. I don't know what's wrong with that thing. But thankfully it's learning, and this is becoming more and more rare. So in conclusion, Realm is awesome, and it's made sync and workouts so much fun to work with. The ROT system is so handy for function triggers on sign up. So anyone who signs up, you get a free week of workouts, and we use Realm's auth trigger in order to do this for you. Deploying apps to the App Store. Do we have any iOS React Native developers in here tonight? How fun is that? And then, I don't like Expo. OpenAI is awesome, but it's also super slow, and starting a business around an app is hard. So thanks very much, everyone. If there's any questions or anything technical that people would like cleared up, ask away. Cute.
And I just want to say before I start, Expo, with the newest release, you literally just put a command in the CLI and it does a test build in the cloud, and then you pick which build you want and it goes to the App Store. It's so fucking good. Just yeah, it makes life so much easier. If you have to develop with React Native, the new, like since version 48. Oh, excellent. Sorry, Shane. You can go now.
It's your gig. It's your gig. It's all right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Shane McAllister, and I'm on the DevRel team here at MongoDB. And the fact that you're in MongoDB with all those lovely pizzas, etc., means you got to listen to me for 10 or 15 minutes or so. This doesn't always happen. As Niall said, somebody dropped out, so we got thrown in at the last moment. But I promise to keep it light and interesting. I'm not a React developer, by the way. I'm a iOS developer, and strictly, yeah. So I won't be taking any React questions, but I will show you how to work with MongoDB and React and etc. as well, as soon as I can share my screen properly. Good, that's behaving and minding itself. So welcome to MongoDB. Hands up who uses MongoDB? Anyone in here? That's decent enough. That's good enough. Okay, there's a cohort that don't. Hands up who had never heard of MongoDB before getting the invite today to come to this fabulous offices that we have. Anyone? Oh, don't be messing. So what MongoDB is and why it was created, it was founded by three founders back in 2007. The three founders, essentially Dwight, Kevin, and Elliot, had a company called DoubleClick, which for those of you as old as me will remember, they served a lot of ads on a lot of the pages that you went to on websites back in the early 2000s. And they founded, essentially, they ran into a lot of trouble serving those ads as quickly as they needed those ads to be served. They wanted to serve they hit a bottleneck at about 400,000 ads a second. They just did not have any database or any infrastructure that could handle that. And like all the best things with any entrepreneurs is that they decided, well, let's figure out how to solve this for ourselves and let's do something about it. So MongoDB was formed back in 2007, but the main thing that we do essentially is allow developers and help developers move from idea to scale as quickly as possible. We're known as a database company. MongoDB, Mongo is short for humongous. It's concatenation of the name. And we were designed to manage huge applications at scale and to make it easy. So MongoDB started off as open source. You can still, to this very day, download MongoDB and put it on your own server and run it free of charge. Nobody's going to come looking for your credit card details or anything like that. But back a few years ago, we have moved more to a database as a service in the cloud with our product offering Atlas, and I'll show you that as well too. I know the audience today is like front-end developers, React developers, etc. How many of you care about databases? Can I just show of hands? That's decent enough. Most front-end developers don't care a lot of the time. They get told what to do and how to interact with it and what their API is, etc., etc. So it's nice to see that you do care. But for those that might have only a passing care for a database, structured collection of data, that's really easy to understand. MongoDB is a NoSQL database or a non-relational database. Those of you that are familiar with a relational data model, it's essentially this. It's a collection of tables, columns and rows that are all linked to each other in some respect or some way. This was designed back in the day, essentially when memory, compute, processors were expensive. We had to store data in a really simple, straightforward, kind of less bandwidth and less memory intensive way. So we optimized things for keeping them, storing them on disk and only retrieving them and putting them into memory when we needed to. And that made sense for quite a long period of time, but it's unwieldy. In this example here, you know, if you want to look up something to do and find out Justin Dunham, who's, you know, in department 500, employee ID 9950, you're traversing across a lot of tables. And if you're trying to create a query and that can give you back the information on that employee, you are joining a lot of tables. That's a lot of compute, that's a lot of power that's needed. And it's not great. And you're jumping around the place far too much. So NoSQL, so SQL, structured query language, was the way everything was done back in the day. And NoSQL was just a simple name meant to represent not SQL, essentially, but it's stuck. And it's a more recent invention because essentially now we live in a world where memory was a lot cheaper on the devices and processors and machines and servers used. Disk space is absurdly cheap now, as we all know that. Anybody wants to get stuff hosted somewhere else, really, really cheap. Anybody who remembers back in the day when your disk drives are incredibly expensive. I think Apple only get away with still charging ridiculous prices for storage on your laptops because they've soldered it to the board. Processors are incredibly fast now. The expensive thing in the transaction that we have now is developers. Everyone in this room, you're the most expensive piece of any application development. It's not the servers, it's not the infrastructure, it's not the bandwidth, it's not the overhead. It's the human resources that are involved in building these applications together. So MongoDB's job essentially is to make you more productive, make you quicker, make you faster, and take away all the nonsense that you don't really want to get involved in. So NoSQL or non-relation abandoned the relational part of databases. Instead of modeling things as tables, we're modeling them as objects with keys, something that most developers are all familiar with now. We do it in this very, very simple way. We use JSON, human readable. We don't store it as JSON. We in fact store it as BSON, which gives us a lot more advantages of JSON, but for all intents and purposes, it's stored as JSON. So this JSON file here represents exactly the same information you saw a few slides back on the relational database, but it's very, very simple. But the most important, the simplest part of this is the fact that you don't need to plan in advance what you need to store in your database. In the relational world, you needed to know how many rows am I going to, how many columns am I going to need? What sort of information am I going to have to store about the data that I need to collect on my users, on my application, etc. as well too. Now with the non-relational database, we don't need to plan any of that. So this is particularly important for startups. You know, I suppose, Evan, if you're starting your app and storing the data, you don't know the records you need to store for a particular exercise, particular individual, etc. as well too. You don't need to know it. MongoDB, we don't care. We can add fields as many as you want into a document. We also handle blank fields and null fields. Really, we don't care. It's not a cost to us if that database record is really, really small. That's the first advantage. The other advantage is if you want to know something about a piece of data, it's all stored together. It's stored in the same document. It's stored in the same record. So you're not traversing tables. You're not joining entries together to get the results that you want. You can simply dive and go across that entire single record to find all the information that you need. So we have a mantra that data that is accessed together should be stored together. And that's the most important thing. If you take nothing from my conversation talk with you this evening, please kind of get that drummed into you a little bit. So as I said, MongoDB in its early inception was essentially a database that you could download and run on your own server. A number of years ago, we moved to the cloud like everybody else in the tech space. And MongoDB Atlas is our database as a service. So the open source version of MongoDB, you don't pay anything for. MongoDB Atlas, you do pay, but you can get started on a very generous free tier, and you can do a lot. It's very good for minimal viable products, proof of concepts, etc. as well too. And in the past 18 months or 2 years, we've moved away from just being known as a database company into more a data platform and developer data platform. So around the document model that we have, we've built a number of services. We've acquired companies, we've put services together that allow you as developers to just get on with the day job, get on with building the best application you can, and not be concerned about the data, the structure, the format of your data and how it goes about that. So our document model is still at the core, that's no doubt about it. And we can handle any types of data in there. They can be geospatial data, they can be time series data if you're dealing with IoT-based devices. We can use graphs, we can still stick with key value pairs. We do manage relationships in data as well too. We're not, we're non-relational data, but still relationships are important. But above all, the middle tier there is Atlas brings together a unified interface for all of this. If you go to Atlas today and register an account, and I hope that you do, I should have put up a tracking code so I know you're all registering because I had a nice conversation with you all. Essentially, you will see a unified interface that allows you to do so much more than simply store your data in our collections. It allows you to work with that data in a transactional way. It allows you to search that data. We use Lucene search across all of the data. You can directly search. You can perform analytics on that data. We have charts built into MongoDB Atlas that allow you to show directly within Atlas charts. You can export those as well into web pages, etc. We allow you to create mobile applications. I'll talk a little bit about that too, and serverless applications as well too. And above all, underneath all of this is that we're secure and that we're resilient and elastic. I'll talk a little bit about scaling. And we are multi-cloud. We were the first database to become database as a service to become multi-cloud. So you can choose AWS, GCP, or Azure. You can choose all three. We allow you to choose all three at the same time, and that's perfect for resiliency. It's perfect for territorial reasons. Sometimes data has to stay in Europe, for example, etc. as well too. You can store data very, very close to your users. The sign-up process is super simple in that regard. As a developer, you have a couple of the decisions to make. Obviously, you want to know about your database structure, how that is organized and what's it going to look like. But that's at the start of your process of creating your application, creating whatever you're building. Data retrieval and manipulation of that data really takes over once that application has launched. And then ultimately database management. We all want to grow. We all want to see our products take off. We all want to scale. So how do you manage that? What do you do? How do you manage that scale, that velocity of, you want to be the next unicorn. What do you do about that? And MongoDB obviously comes in all three of those. It is the best possible general purpose database. And what do I mean by general purpose? It's designed to suit the needs of as many applications as possible. We don't really mind what you're building. We're able to handle that. We don't really mind what type of data that you have or workload that you have. We have built-in tools to handle all of those as well too. And it has been influenced by the many database designs that have come before us, etc. as well too. So we've taken all the good bits of those and brought them to the fore. But in essence, MongoDB is designed for the massive growing database scale and size that we have today. The advent of mobile devices and the advent of people not only consuming data, but creating data has led to an explosion in data. And how do you manage that? For those of you who remember the early days of social media, Facebook, Twitter, et cetera, those sites, those services were constantly going down. As they got more and more users on board, they simply were running out and buying more servers and putting those servers into a storage rack and powering them up and getting them up and running. It was a real problem. Twitter became known as, it had the fail whale, if you've ever seen those graphics as well too. It predominantly got known as, something's happened, some event in the world has happened and Twitter's down because everybody's on the platform at the same time trying to see what's going on as well too. So we've seen an exponential growth in data between the internet and more particularly smart devices. Back in the day of relational databases, it was very, very controlled as to who acted on that data, who operated the data, who had access. They were the admins, they were the data programmers, the data analysts who were accessing their own systems. It wasn't Joe Public, it wasn't the people out and about. So scaling and managing your data became really, really important. We have two ways to do this in Atlas. First of all, you can do this in vertical scaling. This is as simple as taking a machine and putting more storage, putting more memory, putting more compute power into it as well too, if we want to use that analogy. And for us, it equates to moving up our tiers in our product. So you start off with an M0, that's free forever, and you can play around with that. Great for your minimum viable product. If that takes off and does really well, you can bump up the tiers as and when you need it. But we predominantly, and this is really serving the needs of global applications, is horizontal scaling, where we're not scaling a single machine in more terms of memory, disk space, and compute. We're moving that database, that workload across many, many multiples of machines. We have clients that have literally tens of thousands of servers serving their needs without any of that extra overhead of management that a database administrator might have to do trying to manage that. Can you imagine if they tried to do that in-house? It's impossible. We manage this horizontal scaling in a lot of different ways. We've got sharding, we've got partitioning, et cetera, and I won't go into the details of that. That's another chat for a decent amount of time. So in summary on databases and MongoDB in general, it's designed to support a single unified API. You can get access to your data in MongoDB in lots of different ways. You can get access to the data via our drivers. You can get access to the data via API. You can get access to data via query languages and a whole host of other ways. Polymorphic data, again, we don't mind what data you're storing on MongoDB. It can handle all types of data, your geospatial data, your time series data, et cetera, as well too. And it doesn't matter what type of workload you have. It's a transactional workload, an operational workload, an analytical workload. And you can map the data to and from programming languages. We have a number of SDKs you can use. They're idiomatic. So regardless of what language you're using, we can cater for that as well too. And so a modern general purpose database combines all of that, but allows it to be containerized and provisioned in multi-cloud environments as well, and can move data around. So a couple of slides. I said at the beginning, I'm not a React developer, my apologies. How do we work well with React? Back in 2019, April 2019, MongoDB bought a company called Realm based in Copenhagen. And that's what you use to work with your React apps on MongoDB. Realm supports a huge amount of languages and frameworks. Realm was a local database, particularly for mobile development at the beginning, but we have a lot of frameworks, a lot of languages, whatever you might choose as well too. But our web SDK, our Realm web SDK is what React developers will use. And the reason for Realm is that we expose essentially a single data layer across all platforms. So you can work with your data regardless of whether it's a website, whether it's a mobile app, whether it's an IoT device, a point of sale system, even watches as well too. And building in around this ecosystem from Realm, we have the serverless app tier. So We have functions, triggers, our new data API. You can query using GraphQL, and we have device sync for mobile devices to get access to that data and handle the offline environment as well too. We manage authentication in any which way you want to do it. So again, taking a bit of developer workload off you and allowing you to do that seamlessly and out of the box. We have triggers that allow essentially for event-driven listeners to take care of functions that will happen either given with a change in the database structure on a time event, etc. as well too. And we have functions. Serverless functions can be called again to manage transactions that you might do in your app or website. You can query all the data using GraphQL API, and we manage not on our M0 tier, but on our other paid tiers. You can actually host using the Realm app services as well too. We handle a lot of, or you can handle a lot of third-party integrations too by simply using HTTPS requests and endpoints to manage that as well. And that's kind of really it in a nutshell. Really, really quick tour of what we do. But if you want to know more, we have a developer center on mongodb.com/developer. If you go in there, you can scroll down and look at languages and platforms, etc. If you choose React, you will see both React Native articles and topics, and also React as well too. You can go into our MongoDB docs. The Realm Web SDK is there, and you can read all about it. And directly from there, you've got quick starts and working examples. And if you sign up for Atlas and go into our Atlas console and choose app services, you're presented with the option of choosing a template. And I think it got cut off, but you can see that you can create a React application boilerplate. You can run web boilerplate as well too. Super simple. We've created example apps for you to use. So there you go. That's it. We're done.
We have some swag. So if you have any questions to ask Shane, swag is for you.
Do you want to do that at the end though now? Yeah, we'll hold at the end. We won't hold anybody else.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, you have the. I have my. Yeah. Test 1, 2, 3. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for coming today. Thank you, Git Nation. Thank you, React Meetup, for giving me the opportunity to be here. My name is Israel Sandrea. I'm a software developer. I'm the co-founder of btutor.com. And I will start by saying I'm not a React expert. I'm not even close to be it. And actually still learning myself. Then you might be wondering why I'm the one giving you a presentation. Well, true is that over the last couple of months, I've been struggling with use and hooks and drums and props and everything that is related. And I just wanted to share my struggles. And maybe some of these struggles might help you to have a healthy learning path in React. So this part of the presentation, it might look like a job interview. It's not, but just in case there are some hiring managers in the audience, I'll have my CV in here. So, well, I started very early when I was probably 15-year-old programming. I was using this lovely, beautiful Turbo Pascal. Have any of you guys use it? Or I'm that old? Okay, my generation. Perfect. So, well, I got in love of programming. I became very good at Turbo Pascal, and then I became very good at Visual Basic. Such a cool experience, just dragging buttons, text box, changing colors without needing any CSS or extra files. That was the good old times. And then I needed to go further and started to work as a web developer and start to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, and MySQL. So I started to fight with all these warriors, and I became very good. I actually love it. I started my first company, and I worked, let's say, 3 to 4 years as a software developer creating systems. So I was loving it. But I needed to join the dark side of the force. What do you think it is? I stopped being a developer to become, don't kill me, a salesman. True is, back then, back in my country, financial circumstances became quite complicated. There still is. But developers were doing as good as they are probably doing now. So I just needed to do it. But true is that all this time I spent out of roles of programming were creating a gap between me, my abilities, and the reality of the market. Just to notice that long after, this gap was even bigger. So then, if I wanted to come back, I felt like I was too old. I felt that I wouldn't have the energy. I didn't know where to start, which is cool, which is well paid, what's well paid, and so many new languages. I didn't know where to start. So I just was about to give up the idea of doing it, of getting back as being a developer. But then I was encouraged with a couple of good friends that say that maybe you can try, maybe you can make it. So I went for it and I started to do it very quickly. I was kind of feeling okay with the idea. So I went for it. I'm an entrepreneur myself, or I'd like to consider it like I am. So I really like to create from an idea to probably a real product. Sometimes works, sometimes not, but that's the only way to do it. And I think that software developer will be giving me the opportunity to do it in a cheaper way. So that's why I decided to go for it. But then would be this main decision. Should I be a front end or should I be a back end developer? Back in my days, being a full stack was the only thing to do. Nothing else. Now you can choose. So that's something nice. And as you have probably already noticed, I don't really have a nice taste for design. So I kind of felt that it would be a good idea to become a back-end developer. And I even thought it could be easier. But well, I had some experience with JavaScript and I had in mind, okay, I think I can remember how to zoom to numbers in JavaScript. So that's probably enough for me to start working on Node.js and I will totally break it. That didn't happen. Of course, there were many core concepts in JavaScript that I needed to refresh and I just skipped it because I wanted to do it quickly. And I faced so many issues trying to understand and learn those core concepts of JavaScript. But then I was just trying for a long time. I worked for good moments. I was creating some decent pieces of code. And I felt that it was the moment to maybe learn React because I wanted to build myself the entire thing. So I'm gonna need to create some user interfaces. So yeah, moment of learning React has arrived. But then I was working already with Node.js over the last months and I was feeling powerful. I felt that I didn't need it to refresh any JavaScript concepts. So I went right away, just to have the same obstacles and issues with concepts that were coarse and basic on JavaScript. I just wanted to skip it. And even more when I faced TypeScript. So true is of this presentation is I just wanted to share a little bit of my struggles. And I wanted to share maybe what I would call a healthy path to learn React without having so many issues as I did. So probably you guys or any of you guys are interested in taking this learning path. I'm just hoping that this can help you to have probably a more structured way to learning and to become a React developers. So first, I will start recommended to learn Node. but to learn how to install it, and that's all. You install Node, and then you install the Node environment in your computers, and maybe you learn how to install some packages, and that would be all. Because that will help you to locate yourself in a position in which you will be using constantly for future understandings of how React in general works. And then you will go right away to start learning JavaScript using the Node environment. But what to learn? Do you need 69 hours of video on demand for JavaScript? It wouldn't hurt, but it will delay you a lot. Instead, I would recommend to focus on some specific core concepts that for some of you might not be enough, but for me, I would probably say that will help you a lot if you at least understand those. So the first thing is, if you have zero experience in JavaScript, you're gonna need to learn basic operations and going back to syntaxes. And then you can just move forward with string management and made a big effort to understand as much as possible these array management and JavaScript objects, because probably 90% of the data that you're gonna need to render in your React application will need you to handle and to understand very well all these concepts. So map, push, sort, filter, find, concat, splice, and for each, and probably I'm missing a couple of them. Excuse me if that happens, but those are the ones that I found more useful so far. And then you can just move forward to understand let and const, spread operators, arrow functions, destructuring objects, events, fetching data, and don't skip immutability. And once you feel that you are very confident with this information, that you are feeling that you understand everything, it's the moment then that you start learning React, and probably this will be a very healthy start. But what to learn in React? So true is that there is so many good opportunities of structured information about how to learn or what to learn. This is what basically I feel that it could be helpful, but don't feel that there is like a specific rule. This is the way that I would wanted to do it. So that's what I'm sharing. So of course, understanding what is the JSX syntax and how it will render the HTML code in your page. And then to understand what is components or to give the modularity to your app, props to share data between the components. And then understand what is the state management. Probably don't go further yet. Understand what it is, because it's a big part of what you will probably be doing in React. And understand maybe the options that you have about technology with this state management. And then you will start using or learning the default hooks that React have for you. Then you start learning use state for your state management, or use effect for control the flow of the functions, or maybe learning use ref to move data between your inputs and your code, or use reducer for state management in complex cases, or learn use context for global state management, or use Mimo to optimize the performance of your ad by saving it by saving the results in memory, or use callback, but optimize the performance of your ad by saving functions that requires a lot of computation. And then learn forms to move data easily from inputs to your code, or custom hooks for increase the reusability of your code. And then learn React Router to create single page applications. And once you master all this information, then you are free to start exploring some third-party libraries for state management like Redux Toolkit or Sustank. And based on the requirements of your apps, you probably will need or understand which one is the best for your case, based probably in the size of the app that you will be creating or developing. And once you understand everything in React, that you feel very confident, that you are already creating some to-do demos and putting it up in GitHub, it's the moment that you can go into TypeScript. For me, the experience of trying to learn TypeScript together with React was just a hell of a route. It was terrible. I didn't know if the errors were coming from TypeScript or from React, and it really kind of pushed me down. So my experience and my recommendation would be become a very good developer in React, and then you go to TypeScript, so it will be more easier for understand and moving forward. So basically, the full recommendation and the flow of hacking the learning path of React, it would be install the Node environment, just install it and start playing with JavaScript in there. Then start practicing or practice a lot React in all the code that you can just create with it. And once you have reached these milestones, then it's the moment to optimize and improve the performance of the quality of your code with TypeScript. And then after, learn every day so you can always get better, and learn what you love so you can always be happy. Thank you very much.